kale, the darling of green smoothies, the king of superfood salads, and the poster child for healthy eating everywhere. You've massaged it, baked it, blitzed it, and probably boasted about it on Instagram. But can this leafy green overachiever actually be too good for you? Is there such a thing as kale overload? And what's the real deal with oxalates, kidney stones, and all those scary headlines? Buckle up. Kale fans, let's dig into the science, bust some myths, and find out how much kale is too much. Kale's superfood status. Why we love it. Let's start with the good stuff. Kale is a nutritional powerhouse, packing a punch of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants for just 35 calories per cup. It's loaded with vitamin C and K, beta-carotene, calcium, potassium, and magnesium. Plus, it's a great plant-based source of iron and fiber. Research even suggests that the phytochemicals in kale may help inhibit cancer cell growth. If you've spent any time in health forums, you've probably seen warnings that kale are high in oxalates, which can supposedly increase your risk of kidney stones and mess with your calcium absorption. In fact, Dr. Frederick Koh, a kidney specialist at the University of Chicago, says it's about impossible to eat enough kale to cause kidney stones. But is kale really the villain here? The answer? Yes, but you'd have to go pretty wild with your kale consumption. In the body, oxalates can bind with calcium to form crystals, which are usually excreted in urine. For most people, this isn't a problem. However, in some individuals, especially those prone to kidney stones, high oxalate intake can contribute to stone formation. Overdo it, and you might experience bloating, gas, diarrhea, or constipation. Kale is awesome, but definitely switch up your greens, says registered dietitian Lauren Manganillo. Eating a rainbow of veggies ensures you get a broader range of vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. If you have a sensitive gut or conditions like IBS, you might want to go easy on the kale. Remember, more isn't always better. No wonder kale has become the go-to green for health enthusiasts. But as with any food, moderation is key, Evan, with the mighty kale. The oxalate paradox. Should you worry? While it's true that kale can absorb trace amounts of metals, you'd have to eat absurd quantities to reach toxic levels. Still, it's smart to buy your greens from reputable sources and wash them well. Now for the controversy. Oxalates. Calcium-rich foods actually helps your body excrete oxalates safely. So, adding a sprinkle of cheese or a splash of almond milk to your kale salad, smart nutrition. Just remember to drain off the cooking water, since that's where the oxalates go. What are oxalates anyway? Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plants. Most experts recommend sticking to 1 to 2 servings per day. This gives you all the benefits without overloading your gut or crowding out other nutrients. This is mostly a concern for people with pre-existing thyroid issues or iodine deficiency, only if you're re-eating huge amounts of raw kale daily. Think over 2 pounds a day for months. For the average person, moderate kale consumption is unlikely to cause thyroid problems. How much oxalate is in kale? Here is the plot twist. Kale is actually low in oxalates compared to other greens like spinach, Swiss chard, or beet greens. For context, a 100-gram serving of kale contains just 17 milligrams of oxalate. While spinach can have hundreds of milligrams in the same amount, you'd have to eat a mountain of kale, think 125 cups at once, to reach the oxalate levels that might cause trouble for most people. So, if you're worried about kidney stones, kale is a much safer bet than high oxalate greens. What happens if you eat too much kale? Okay, so oxalates aren't the big bad wolf for kale lovers. But can you have too much of a good thing? Digestive drama. Too much fiber. Kale is high in fiber, especially insoluble fiber, which is great for digestion up to a point. That's plenty for most people, so go ahead. Enjoy your kale salads, smoothies, and chips. Just remember to mix it up, cook it sometimes, and savor the rainbow of veggies nature has to offer, crowding out other nutrients. If you're eating kale by the bucketful, you might be missing out on other important nutrients from a varied diet. Thyroid concerns, goitrogens, in raw kale. Don't let kale crowd out other nutritious veggies. Raw kale contains compounds called goitrogens, specifically goitrins, which can interfere with thyroid function by blocking iodine uptake. Pro tip, cooking kale deactivates most goitrogens, so if you're worried about your thyroid, steam, or your greens. The oxalate paradox isn't really a paradox at all. Kale is low in oxalates. And for most people, the benefits far outweigh any risks. So, keep enjoying your kale, but don't forget to invite its veggie friends to the party. Your body will thank you. Heavy metal hype? Should you panic? You might have seen headlines about kale soaking up heavy metals like thallium and lead from the soil. It's the science on oxalates, kale, and calcium. The balancing act. Oxalates can bind to calcium in your gut, reducing calcium absorption. But here's the twist. Pairing kale cooking lowers oxalate content. Boiling or steaming kale can reduce its oxalate content even further, making it even less of a concern for kidney stone risk. How much kale is safe to eat? So, how much kale is too much? And don't forget, variety is key. Rotate your greens mix in spinach, arugula, bok choy, and romaine to keep your diet balanced and your taste buds happy. Let's recap the kale paradox. Kale is low in oxalates, making it a safe choice for most people, leaving those concerned about kidney stones. Too much kale can cause digestive issues, especially if you overdo the fiber. Raw kale contains goitrogens, but only excessive amounts are likely to affect thyroid function. In cooking, neutralizes most goitrogens. Pairing kale with calcium-rich foods helps block oxalate absorption and supports bone health. Cooking kale lowers oxalate content even more, making it even safer for sensitive folks. The real risk? Eating so much kale that you miss out on the variety and balance your body craves. Tips for enjoying kale the smart way: stick to 1 to 2 servings per day. Rotate your greens. Cook your kale to reduce oxalates and goitrogens, especially if you have thyroid concerns or a history of kidney stones. Pair with calcium-rich foods like cheese, yogurt, or fortified plant milks to help block oxalate absorption. Drink plenty of water. This helps flush out oxalates and supports kidney health. Buy from trusted sources and wash thoroughly to reduce any risk of heavy metals. Listen to your body. If kale upsets your stomach, try smaller portions or switch to other greens. Fun kale facts. Kale was once used as a garnish in pizza shops, before it became a superfood superstar. There's a National Kale Day. Thomas Jefferson grew kale at Monticello in the early 1800s. Talk about a trendsetter. Final thoughts: kale is a nutritional MVP, but it's not invincible.